second of Kings, or according to the Greek Septuagint, the fourth of Kings. Chapter 1. And Moab began to revolt against Israel after the death of Ahab. Then Ahaziah fell down through the grating in his roof chamber that was in Samaria and got sick. So he sent messengers and said to them, Go, inquire of Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron, whether I shall revive from this sickness. As for the angel of Jehovah, he spoke to Elijah the Tishbite, Rise up, go up to meet the messengers of the king of Samaria, and say to them, Is it because there is no God at all in Israel that you are going to inquire of Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron? So therefore this is what Jehovah has said. As regards the couch upon which you have gone up, you will not come down off it, because you will positively die. With that Elijah went off. When the messengers came back to him, he immediately said to them, Why is it that you have come back? So they said to him, There was a man that came up to meet us, and he proceeded to say to us, Go, return to the king who sent you, and you must speak to him. This is what Jehovah has said. Is it because there is no God at all in Israel that you are sending to inquire of Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron? Therefore, as regards the couch upon which you have gone up, you will not come down off it, because you will positively die. At this he spoke to them. What was the appearance of the man that came up to meet you and then spoke these words to you? So they said to him, A man possessing a hair garment, with a leather belt girded about his loins. Immediately he said, It was Elijah the Tishbite. And he proceeded to send to him a chief of 50 with his 50. When he went up to him, there he was sitting upon the top of the mountain. He now spoke to him, Man of the true God, the king himself has spoken. Do come down. But Elijah answered and spoke to the chief of the 50. Well, if I am a man of God, let fire come down from the heavens and eat up you and your 50. And fire came descending from the heavens and went eating up him and his 50. So he sent again to him another chief of 50 with his 50. In turn he answered and spoke to him, Man of the true God, this is what the king has said. Do come down quickly. But Elijah answered and spoke to them, If I am a man of the true God, let fire come down from the heavens and eat up you and your 50. And fire of God came descending from the heavens and went eating up him and his 50. And he went sending again a third chief of 50 and his 50. But the third chief of 50 went up and came and bent down upon his knees in front of Elijah and began to implore favor of him and speak to him. Man of the true God, please let my soul and the soul of these 50 servants of yours be precious in your eyes. Here fire came down from the heavens and went eating up the two former chiefs of 50 and their 50s. But now let my soul be precious in your eyes. At that the angel of Jehovah spoke to Elijah, Go down with him. Do not be afraid because of him. So he rose and went down with him to the king. Then he spoke to him, This is what Jehovah has said. For the reason that you have sent messengers to inquire of Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron, is it because there is no God at all in Israel of whose word to inquire? Therefore, as regards the couch upon which you have gone up, you will not come down off it, because you will positively die. And he gradually died, according to the word of Jehovah that Elijah had spoken, and Jehoram began to reign in place of him. In the 2nd year of Jehoram, the son of Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, because he had not come to have a son. As for the rest of Ahaziah's things that he did, are they not written in the book of the affairs of the days of the kings of Israel? Chapter 2. And it came about that when Jehovah was to take Elijah in a windstorm up to the heavens, Elijah and Elisha proceeded to go from Gilgal. And Elijah began to say to Elisha, "Sit here, please, because Jehovah himself has sent me clear to Bethel." But Elisha said, "As Jehovah is living, and as your soul is living, I will not leave you." So they went down to Bethel. Then the sons of the prophets that were at Bethel came out to Elisha and said to him, "Do you really know that today Jehovah is taking your master from headship over you?" At this he said, "I too well know it. Be silent." Elijah now said to him, "Elisha, sit here, please, because Jehovah himself has sent me to Jericho." But he said, "As Jehovah is living and as your soul is living, I will not leave you." So they came on to Jericho. Then the sons of the prophets that were at Jericho approached Elisha and said to him, "Do you really know that today Jehovah is taking your master from headship over you?" At this he said, "I too well know it. Be silent." Elijah now said to him, "Sit here, please, because Jehovah himself has sent me to the Jordan." But he said, "As Jehovah is living, and as your soul is living, I will not leave you." So both of them went on. And there were 50 men of the sons of the prophets that went and kept standing in view at a distance. But as for both of them, they stood by the Jordan. Then Elijah took his official garment and wrapped it up and struck the waters. And gradually they were divided this way and that way, so that both of them went across on the dry ground. And it came about that as soon as they had gone across, Elijah himself said to Elisha, "Ask what I should do for you before I am taken from you." To this Elisha said, "Please, that 2 parts in your spirit may come to me." At that he said, "You have asked a difficult thing. If you see me when taken from you, it will happen to you that way. But if you do not, it will not happen." And it came about that as they were walking along, speaking as they walked, why, look, a fiery war chariot and fiery horses, and they proceeded to make a separation between them both. And Elijah went ascending in the windstorm to the heavens. All the while Elisha was seeing it, and he was crying out, "My father, my father, the war chariot of Israel and his horsemen." And he did not see him any more. Consequently, he took hold of his own garments and ripped them into 2 pieces. After that, he picked up the official garment of Elijah that had fallen off him, and went back and stood by the shore of the Jordan. Then he took the official garment of Elijah that had fallen off him, and struck the waters and said, "Where is Jehovah the God of Elijah, even he?" When he struck the waters, then they were gradually divided this way and that way, so that Elisha went across. When the sons of the prophets that were at Jericho saw him some way off, they began to say, "The spirit of Elijah has settled down upon Elisha." Accordingly, they came to meet him and bowed down to him to the earth. And they went on to say to him, "Here now, there are with your servants 50 men, valiant persons. Let them go, please, and look for your master. It may be that the Spirit of Jehovah has lifted him up, and then thrown him upon one of the mountains, or in one of the valleys." But he said, "You must not send them." And they kept urging him until he was embarrassed, so that he said, "Send." They now sent 50 men, and they kept looking for 3 days, but they did not find him. When they returned to him, he was dwelling in Jericho. Then he said to them, "Did I not say to you, 'Do not go'?" In time the men of the city said to Elisha, "Here now the situation of the city is good, just as my master is seeing, but the water is bad, and the land is causing miscarriages." At that he said, "Fetch me a small new bowl, and put salt in it." So they fetched it for him. Then he went on out to the source of the water, and threw salt in it, and said, "This is what Jehovah has said. I do make this water healthful. No more will death or any causing of miscarriages result from it." And the water continues healed down to this day, according to Elisha's word that he spoke. And he proceeded to go up from there to Bethel. As he was going up on the way, there were small boys that came out from the city and began to jeer him, and that kept saying to him, "Go up, you bald head! Go up, you bald head!" Finally he turned behind him and saw them, and called down evil upon them in the name of Jehovah. Then 2 she-bears came out from the woods, and went tearing to pieces 42 children of their number. And he kept going from there to Mount Carmel, and from there he returned to Samaria.